What is the secret to happiness and fulfillment in life? Could it lie in the wisdom of the ancient philosophers like Socrates? Let's journey back in time and delve into the world of Socrates, a classical Greek philosopher whose lessons still echo today, guiding us towards a happier life. Our first lesson: know yourself. The cornerstone of Socrates' teachings, he believed that understanding oneself is the key to personal growth and fulfillment. Imagine trying to navigate through a thick forest with no compass. That's what life is like without self-awareness. To truly know yourself, you must understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and your values. It's about recognizing your capabilities and limitations and aligning your actions with your beliefs. This isn't a one-time process, but a continuous journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. As we evolve, so does our understanding of ourselves. As Socrates once said, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." Ever thought about questioning everything you know? Now that might sound daunting, right? But it's exactly what Socrates proposed with his method of questioning. It's not about doubting for the sake of it, but about challenging our assumptions, our preconceived notions, and our perceived truths. Imagine your mind as a garden. The Socratic method is like the gardener, tending to your thoughts, weeding out the untruths, cultivating the seeds of curiosity, and nurturing the growth of wisdom. By asking questions, we're not just seeking answers. We're creating a fertile ground for understanding and enlightenment to bloom. Socrates taught us that every answer we find often leads us to new questions. It's a continuous journey of learning, a never-ending spiral of knowledge. And that's the beauty of it. It's about nurturing a lifelong love for learning, for understanding the world around us, and for seeking truth. Remember, every answer births a new question, and that's the beauty of learning. What if the key to a richer life isn't in your wallet, but in your mind? This is a question Socrates, the classical Greek philosopher, would have likely posed. He firmly believed that wisdom and virtue held more value than material wealth, a belief that might seem counterintuitive in our current society driven by material success and accumulation. Socrates argued that the pursuit of knowledge and virtue leads to a richer, more fulfilling life. Wealth, in his perspective, was not about an abundance of possessions, but rather an abundance of understanding, a wealth of wisdom. He saw virtue as the highest form of wealth, a treasure that could not be stolen or lost, a resource that never depletes but instead grows with use. Let's ponder this. Instead of measuring our worth by our bank accounts, what if we measured it by our wisdom, our virtue, our character? It's not about how much you have, but how much you know and how you use it. Why is it that the more we know, the more we realize we don't know? This apparent paradox was at the heart of Socrates' philosophy, encapsulating his humble approach to wisdom. Unafraid to acknowledge his own ignorance, Socrates understood that the path to knowledge is not a straight line but rather a winding journey marked by constant discovery and reevaluation. Embracing this humility, Socrates was able to perpetually learn, grow, and refine his understanding of the world. It's a lesson that remains as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. In recognizing our own limitations, we open ourselves up to the vast expanse of what we have yet to learn. Humility, then, is not a sign of weakness but a symbol of strength. It's a commitment to lifelong learning, a pledge to remain open-minded, and a promise to continuously strive for better understanding. As Socrates himself once said, true wisdom begins with acknowledging our own ignorance. What makes a friendship truly valuable? This is a question that Socrates, the classical Greek philosopher, pondered deeply. For Socrates, the value of friendship transcended mere companionship or convenience. It was about building deep, meaningful connections rooted in mutual respect and trust. He believed in friendships that invited intellectual engagement and fostered personal growth. Friendships, in the Socratic sense, were not just about shared interests or good times. They were about challenging one another's ideas, offering constructive critique, and stimulating thought. In essence, Socrates saw friends as mirrors that reflect our virtues and vices, providing opportunities for self-improvement. He understood that a true friend is not someone who merely agrees with us or indulges our whims, but someone who helps us become better versions of ourselves. So, as we navigate through our lives, let's strive to cultivate and cherish relationships that challenge us, inspire us, and help us grow. After all, these are the friendships that Socrates deemed to be truly valuable. Is the unexamined life really not worth living? Socrates posed this question ages ago, yet it remains a profound invitation for us today. Living an examined life, according to Socrates, is all about self-reflection. It's about pausing in the hustle and bustle of our daily routine, taking a step back, and looking within. This isn't about self-indulgence or navel-gazing, it's about understanding our actions, examining our beliefs, and scrutinizing our choices. It's about asking ourselves, why did I do that? What does this mean to me? Is this in line with my values? You see, when we live an examined life, we become more conscious of our decisions. We become aware of our patterns, our triggers, and our growth areas. We become better at spotting inconsistencies between our values and our actions. We learn, we grow, we evolve. So, take time to reflect. For in introspection we find alignment and clarity. Pleasure or virtue, which do you think leads to real happiness? Socrates, the ancient philosopher, posed such questions, challenging us to explore our perceptions of happiness. He distinguished between temporary pleasures and lasting virtues. Pleasures are fleeting, momentary sparks that ignite joy but quickly fade away. They're the sugar rush that leaves us craving for more. The fleeting thrill of a new purchase, the transient joy of an indulgence. On the other hand, virtues are enduring, weaving a strong, resilient fabric of character. They're the deep satisfaction of helping others, the peace achieved through patience, the fulfillment drawn from personal growth. Virtues build a foundation for sustainable happiness, a happiness that isn't shaken by external circumstances or fleeting desires. Socrates urged us to prioritize actions that cultivate these virtues. For it is in moral excellence that we can find long-lasting happiness. So ponder on this, seek actions that lead to moral excellence, for therein lies long-term happiness. What stand would you take for justice? Socrates held the principles of justice in high regard, believing in the importance of fairness, rightness, and equality. He encouraged his followers to live by these principles, to stand against injustice, and to advocate for what is morally right. Socrates saw justice as more than just a concept. To him it was a way of life, a guiding light that illuminates the path towards a fair and harmonious society. He believed that justice wasn't merely about punishing wrongdoers, but about creating an environment where each individual is given their due, where the scales are balanced, and where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. He urged us to not just observe injustice but to actively stand against it, to raise our voices, and to fight for what is right. In doing so, we become agents of change, contributing to a more just and equitable world. So remember, in advocating for fairness, we contribute to a more just and harmonious society. What if we viewed death not as an end but a transition? This perspective was held by Socrates, who faced his own mortality with remarkable composure. He believed in the immortality of the soul, viewing death as a mere transition to another state of existence. This belief allowed him to live his life without the fear of death looming over him, enabling him to focus on living a life of virtue and wisdom instead. Socrates' perspective on death teaches us a valuable lesson about embracing life. It's not about fearing the inevitable, but about understanding it, accepting it, and using that knowledge to appreciate the time we have. By cultivating a healthy perspective on mortality, we can shift our focus away from the fear of death, and more towards the beauty of life. This doesn't mean we should be reckless or careless, but rather, it means we should cherish each moment and live life to its fullest. With a healthy perspective on mortality, we can live life more fully. What does it mean to be truly content? In the eyes of Socrates, contentment was a practice, a conscious choice to be satisfied with what one has. In a world that constantly urges us to want more, to strive for more, to be more, Socrates' philosophy of contentment offers a refreshing perspective. He found joy and fulfillment not in the pursuit of endless desires, but in the simplicity of the present moment. He believed that happiness doesn't come from external validation or material possessions, but from within. It's about appreciating what you have, rather than longing for what you don't. It's about finding peace in simplicity, not chaos in excess. It's about understanding that the key to true contentment lies not in the pursuit of more, but in the appreciation of less. This is a valuable lesson in our modern world where we are often led to believe that more is better. Find joy in the simple things and you'll find the key to true contentment. So, what can we learn from Socrates about living a happier life? Firstly, it's about knowing yourself, understanding your own strengths, weaknesses, and values. Secondly, never stop questioning and seeking knowledge to deepen your understanding of the world. Thirdly, value wisdom and virtue over material wealth for a richer and more meaningful life. Fourthly, embrace humility, acknowledging your own ignorance to allow for continuous learning. Fifthly, Cherish deep and meaningful friendships based on mutual respect, trust, and intellectual engagement. Sixthly, live an examined life, reflecting on your actions, beliefs, and choices. Seventhly, seek virtue, not temporary pleasures, prioritizing actions that lead to moral excellence and long-term happiness. Eighthly, stand for justice, advocating for fairness and standing against injustice. Ninthly, don't fear death, but cultivate a healthy perspective on mortality. And finally, learn to be content, finding satisfaction in simple joys rather than seeking external validation. Apply these principles and you might just find the happiness and fulfillment you seek.